systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. We're talking some hoops. 7 games on the slates. Only a couple games left. My voice is definitely gone, so I'm going to try and limit my speaking as much as possible. Michael in here, Colin in here. Colin, let me know, boy or girl. I know you were having your gender last Friday or something, so let me know. Rio, my voice cooked. How we doing today?
Doing fine. Yeah, just kind of crawling away to the finish line here. Ready for some playoff basketball. These games are just gross today, and the rest of the season's gonna be pretty bad. So just ready for some real basketball soon.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie and come on here and say, oh, what a great slate, this and that. I mean, I'm looking right now, 20.5 spread, 10.5, 23.5, 12.5. Got a couple close ones though throughout. A lot of Q tags. Unfortunately, 3-hour window from the first lock time to the last. So it is definitely going to be difficult. And we're going to talk as best we can through the slate. But I mean, you do the show yesterday and then you get the Pelicans news and then the whole slate's flipped on its head that way. So definitely get in the Discord. If you do, hey, look at that though. There's still money to be made. You guys, you and Matt helped to make $400 from $20 last night. Thank you so much. Shout out to you, iRush. That is awesome stuff. We'll do our best to try and do that again today. Again, it's a slate with a lot of moving parts. We'll just say that for sure. Yep, there you go. Mid-show lunch break Trivett. I don't know if this was the one chirping or not, but I just got my smoothie today. There's no food on my plate, but
I don't think it was him. I think it was somebody else.
I think it was too. I think he was just messing around there,
Yeah.
but okay. April 22nd. There you go. Healthy baby and healthy heartbeat. That is a great start for sure, Colin. Appreciate everyone hanging out. All we ask, like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Rio, any broad slate you want to say? I mean, we go game by game. I'll say the totals, the spreads, the Q tags, but it's a mess.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the main theme that we kind of talked about yesterday was not being so confident in the rotations. Like we saw a lot of weird stuff happening in that Utah game, really from the Utah side. Like Kyle Filipowski, I saw get a lot of ownership, and he wasn't really playing a ton. We kind of talked about that a little bit. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that kind of the same thing applies here. Do my best to pinpoint those spots, but it's gonna be pretty tough here. I think that there's like 3 to 4 teams on this slate that are highly incentivized to win. So I feel like that'd be the spot you want to go to for spend ups because we know that their minutes will be there, and then there's kind of like 3 spots for value, I would say. So from that perspective, it's pretty straightforward, but yeah, we'll do our best to kind of talk through it.
Yep, absolutely. And we will go to one of the teams that start with the value side in the first game, the Timberwolves and the Magic. We are looking at 10.5 point favorites are the Magic, 229.5 total in this one. You're probably wondering why the Magic are such big favorites. Well, you go to the injury report on Minnesota. No Ant, no Randall, no Gobert, no Io DeSumo, no Mike Conley, and Jaden McDaniels is questionable. On the Orlando side, Wendell Carter is questionable, and that is all we got there. So for me, it looks like you got some spend options on the Magic, and you got some value on the Timberwolves. Do you see it the same way?
Yep. Wendell Carter Jr. did just get upgraded to available, so they'll be fully healthy tonight.
Perfect.
I guess that kind of makes the Orlando side a little bit tougher because they have everybody like Anthony Black. This is probably the first time since I don't know, like the first month of the season that they were fully healthy with Anthony Black and Franz and Paulo Suggs and Bain. So I think from that point of view, it's a little bit tougher to really get like a GPP winning score from these guys. So I don't think that this is a spot I'd really be going overboard with, but the matchup is going to get a lot better because no Rudy Gobert, no Io. I don't really think that Jaden McDaniels plays tonight, but he might. But just overall, the team defense for Minnesota is going to be a lot worse, and I think that this is probably a better team total that we would have from Orlando in any other spot. So I think that from that point of view, these guys are still in play. probably just be focusing in on Paulo, Suggs, and Bane. I think Fran's still on a minutes limit. Wendell Carter Jr. never really a guy I'm looking to go to. Anthony Black, same thing with the team fully healthy. But the Minnesota side definitely is probably can get into it a little bit more. We'll have the news with Jay McDaniels if he plays or not. I just don't think that they're going to play him. Maybe they do. It was encouraging that he is ahead of schedule with the injury, but I think that it'd be kind of make more sense to give him another night off. But if he plays, he is in play. The guys that I'd be the most concerned with from a minutes perspective would be Jaden McDaniels and Dante DiVincenzo. For Dante, he hasn't missed a game this year. It feels like the Mikal Bridges like Iron Man thing where he's just going to go out there and play a little bit of minutes. But I would probably think that they go pretty deep into the bench here. So Bones and Nas, I like those guys a lot here. I think that those guys are pretty fine regardless. I think Bones has been playing really well. They need some ball handling, so he'll be a guy I'm looking to for value. And then Nas should get the start. Shot a lot better last game. That was good to see. I think Kyle Anderson probably going to get the start at center, so he's always in play because he does a good job filling up the stat sheet. Is a multi-stat type of guy, so I think that he's very firmly in play. And then Terrence Shannon Jr., another guy at min price that I'm looking to. And then I would also be sprinkling in like the Joan Berringers, Jalen Clark, as pivots off of probably. I mean, like a Berringer, it would be like a max two of Nas, Kyle Anderson and Behringer, and then Clark. I feel like I'd just rather play him over McDaniels and over Dante DiVincenzo, but definitely a pretty good spot to kick things off. But the Wolves do have enough bodies where they can run a pretty deep rotation tonight. So I'm definitely trying to find ways to get away from these the guys that I'm not super confident in, mainly Dante and Jaden McDaniels.
But you think Nas will still play like 27 minutes? Bones will play roughly 30, or can you not even feel confident about pretty much any spot for the Timberwolves?
I think those guys will play a good bit. I think they'll play enough to be very viable tonight. I think Nas probably closer to like 30, and probably the same for Bones.
Man, I think that makes Nas one of the best plays on the slate. 5,700 has that power forward center eligibility as well. Not competing with any usage. Not the easiest matchup by any means, but Nas just when he's playing alongside these guys, like his role grows a lot, and he's a good player, good point per minute guy. So for sure, Nas. I mean, you can see Bones' ownership is not sneaking by anyone. I do think slow mo, Kyle Anderson's ownership probably does come up. Like it's going to be very easy to jam like a Jokic and Avdia, whatever spend you want. Jokic will, the Kyle Anderson. There's so much value in the slate, but 3.4K does go a long way. What did your thoughts on like Paulo versus other spends on the slate?
I mean, compared to like Denny, I prefer Denny a lot more, and just Orlando being healthier makes these guys a little bit tougher to get to. But I think the ownership, I don't think it'll be that high. I guess Saber has
Agree.
Suggs at like 25%, Paulo at 20. I feel like that's too high. Like especially in signature stuff, Danny's gonna be 70% owned. I think Jokic probably be like 50 plus percent. Probably Jalen Johnson gets a little bit more than Paulo, I'd say. So from that perspective, these guys are pretty decent leverage plays, and it is a pretty good matchup just with the Minnesota defense getting much worse.
Yep, totally agree there. And I would be surprised if McDaniels played as well. You did say if he's in, you're fine playing him. Like, man, what are his like? Saber has it for 31. I'd be shocked. Like 23 minutes, 24. That one feels a little tougher for me to get to.
I'd probably say he's closer to like 28, like
Okay.
closer to full. But I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean, that's
Yeah, I'm
not
not.
bad.
Yeah.
And he's
Uh,
gonna be super low on. Like even I don't people aren't gonna take chances, I don't think, at 6.1K. You just go to the other side of the game. Suggs 6'6. And again, salary's not too tight on this slate. People are gonna go there. I got nothing really more in this game. We'll kick it to the next game that I think is probably the worst on the slate. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Detroit Pistons. Detroit 20.5 point favorites, 222.5 total in this one. On the Bucks side, no Miles Turner, no Kuzma, obviously still without KPJ, Bobby, Giannis. On the Detroit side, Isaiah Stewart and Kevin Herter, both questionable. I mean, all you got to do is just sort by ownership in this one. No one projecting for over 6%. Is it one of these click that little circle with a slash through it on both sides, or you got any pieces on either side?
um, I don't know. Like I'd probably keep in Jalen Duren in the player pool because it's just such a good matchup. But yeah, I would say that this is probably closer to like a max one on both sides of it. Just Cade returning takes off a lot of the upside of basically everybody. I don't think Cade is going to be anywhere close to full, like probably 26 to 28 minutes. I don't even think, I think he's now ineligible for the any sort of awards. I don't. This feels just more so kind of getting his legs back under him before the playoffs start. But they're not. They have no incentive to win, so really no incentive to run their guys' minutes up. Just more so, I would say like a dress rehearsal type of thing for Detroit, and kind of a not a get right spot, but a spot where they could have a lot of offensive success and just momentum going their way. So yeah, probably max one Detroit. Uh, I probably the same thing with Milwaukee. They do get Ryan Rollins and Gary Trent Jr. back tonight, so that will make the rotation a little bit deeper than it was before. I'm not definitely not playing any Ryan Rollins at 9.5K. I think that takes Usman Dieng out of play a lot as well at 7.3K. And I mean, this is just not a great matchup for anybody, but like guys like Prince and AJ Green, Pete Nance, I guess those guys are in play a little bit. Gary Trent too. Yeah, I don't know. Milwaukee is like one of the worst spots I would go. Like, I'd really be looking to get away from them because, at least with Minnesota, these guys are cheap and the rotation is pretty straightforward. For Milwaukee, it's not that straightforward and they're expensive and it's a really bad matchup. So I think they just have a lot working against them. I'd probably look to just get away from this game in general.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine clicking any of these bucks if you're playing 20 teams or less. Like you said, not only they have real price tags, you don't know where the minutes are going at the end of the day. So I comparing a lot of these like 5K Milwaukee guys to the Timberwolves stuff that we just talked about. Obviously, you get an ownership discount, but I'd rather play Paulo or something like that as a contrarian spend than I would be playing a buck as a pivot in like that mid or lower tier stuff. So that looks really bad. And yeah, Detroit 20.5 point favorites, Cade back. If you play Duren, I mean, are you more likely to play Duren Jokic and just double spend there and get value? Is that like your way? The Duren's kind of the Denny pivot up top, or would you play him and then not play Jokic really? Because obviously both center eligible.
Probably a pivot away from Jokic, I would say. Um, just looking at the center position as a whole to see if there's like great value that you'd be passing up on by playing both of them. But like there's definitely holes to poke in Jokic because they're 23-point favorites, and he probably isn't playing like the last 15 minutes of the game. So yeah, I would say that Duren is mostly just a pivot off of Jokic.
Okay. What's up, Michael? What's going on, Terry? Great to see you. Off topic, I know, but if I asked you guys last week, Finau, if you guys were playing Finau, is that a horseshit question? Please be honest. I mean, it kind of depends who you're asking. Like, like I'm tomorrow in golf, I think I'm playing, I don't know, 395 teams. So yes, I'm playing Finau, but that doesn't really tell you anything. So I do think there's probably a lot better questions to ask. If you're playing one person, if they're playing Finau, well, they might want to tell you to go to the site to look at the core play. But yeah, I don't really. Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is. It depends on who it is. Like Rio plays 400 teams and you play one Finau, you are playing them, but technically it hardly means anything. So there's a lot better questions to ask. Is it a horseshit question? I wouldn't necessarily say that. Allergies, no. I just came back from a bachelor party over the weekend, and yeah, it was an absolute bender. My voice is cooked, so that is why I sound like garbage. All right, I'll keep it rolling to the next game on the slate. The Atlanta Hawks and the Cleveland Cavaliers, 2.5 point favorites of the Cavs, which is the shortest on the slate. 236.5 total, which is a good one. On the Atlanta side, no injury news to talk about. Not so much on the Cleveland side. We have Dean Wade and Donovan Mitchell questionable. Jalen Tyson doubtful. Thomas Bryant out. I definitely think this is a game we can go to for some mid-tier, possibly upper tier spends in this one. I mean, the Atlanta side, the Donovan Mitchell news is really big, but like Daniels, Kuminga, CJ, Okongwu, maybe even a Jalen Johnson contrarian spend. That one I'm more curious to hear your take, but definitely interested in these Hawks. Think they play minutes or like their normal minutes in a close game, and Cleveland could only get really good if there was no Donovan Mitchell. So actually, Sabre's not showing questionable.
Yeah, I
don't
think he
know
just got upgraded.
Okay. So I guess that makes it a little less appealing, but I mean, we're seeing very low ownership on these guys in what should be a close game. Do you expect their minutes to be normal?
Yeah, I do. But before I go into this game, we're trying to remember what your drink of choice was. I know it was Diet Coke. Was it Diet Coke and tequila or vodka?
Vodka Diet Coke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a lot
I,
of those for sure.
I was trying to line an over under on how many of those you slammed this past weekend.
Whatever it was, take the over, as well as some some other drugs and stuff, having some fun. Not just some weed and some Addy and some fun stuff. Nothing,
There you go.
no craziness. But from someone that does not drink hardly ever, does not do stuff, when I do go out, then you talk more, loud music. Yeah, I don't. The sound has been helping the past 2 days, but not feeling good over here.
Oh, hopefully you feel better in a couple days. But
Thanks.
yeah, this one I do expect both teams to play it straight up. Cleveland not really playing for much right now because I think that they would prefer to be the fourth seed than the third seed in the East, because then you'd be avoiding Boston in that second round. And I just think that probably Detroit is a little bit of a better matchup for them. I think Boston's probably a terrible matchup for everybody, but definitely think that they'd probably want to stay where they're at right now. But um, yeah, just kind of like thinking back to last year, I think that Cleveland was kind of locked in where they were in the seedings. Then they gave their guys rest, and I think Kenny Atkinson was kind of just thinking like he should have probably played this guy more down the stretch just to get them ready for playoff like minutes and kind of get them more acclimated as a team, because we haven't really seen a ton of the Mitchell, Harden, Mobley, Jared Allen minutes. So I think that they will play this game straight up. They're favored here. But this is a bigger game for the Hawks for sure, because they are highly motivated to hold on to that number 5 seed. So I would expect the minutes to be up there for these guys. The rotation is going to be really tight. We saw a Congo get to 37 minutes. I think Jalen played 40 plus in that game against the Knicks. Um, we know that Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Dyson and CJ are going to play a ton. So I think it's pretty straightforward on who you're going to play. Like all 5 of these guys are very, very much in play here. I think I would prefer to get to one of Na or Okongwu over Jalen tonight. It's just been a little bit tougher when the Hawks are fully healthy to get that type of score that you need from Jalen at this price tag. Maybe it's a little bit different at this time of the year, just with kind of there being so many unknowns. Like raw points do matter a little bit more, but at the same kind of to like counteract that point, there's probably going to be a lot of really big scores in like the mid tier and cheap value guys that you could probably get away from Jalen Johnson. Like we think about last night, you could have played 4 Pelicans and 2 Jazz guys that nobody was really on, um, and you would have looked really good. Like Conchar had 50, I think Kenny Chandler had like 60. Fears, Poole, Queen all did really well. So I could see something like that happening with these other teams tonight, because I do expect some more guys to get ruled out as we get closer to lock. But this is a game where both rotations should be pretty straightforward. So from that, like you know where the minutes are going here. So I think that you do have to have consideration all these guys. Cleveland maybe a little bit less so because it's been tougher to get ceiling games from these guys when they're fully healthy. But I mean, Mitchell, Harden, Mobley, all in play. I think Mobley's probably my least favorite because his role has been pretty bad while sharing the court with Jared Allen. I think that James Harden just prefers Jared Allen as his pick and roll partner. Strus 4.8K, I think a high upside value play that probably won't get owned. But I'd probably be looking to the guards, Donovan or Harden. But not an easy matchup. They do have some really good guard defenders in Atlanta, so I think it's gonna be a tougher game for Cleveland to show upside. I think Atlanta, you can definitely go to them though.
How many Atlanta's too many?
I'd probably keep it at 2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Did I miss you say anything about Kaminga?
Not really on my radar, but yeah, I
It's
don't
really
really have.
cheap, but like there's so many cheap players on this slate, and most of them have people that are out next to them that boost their role, unlike Kaminga. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much value, and there's gonna be guys in that same range that are playing 30 plus minutes. I just don't really see it. I don't think that he's necessary.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Before we do get to the next game, let me just show you quick right here. Look at that. Beautiful homepage and PGA Masters special. Obviously, you're watching hoops. You probably don't want the special, just golf, because you're playing some other sports. But tomorrow is Masters. Very, very excited. The prizes are absolutely insane on DraftKings. FanDuel has solid ones as well. Not only golf going on, of course, NBA and the playoffs coming up soon. MLB going on. Main slate still kicking. MMA pay-per-view, really good. No such thing as a pay-per-view, but an insane card this week. NASCAR and NHL all going on. A lot of good prizes. So 6 sports, bottom left, join the nation if you do want to join. Can get in as low as $19. That'll be 5 days. So you will get MMA content, NASCAR content, PGA Showdown, bunch of big prizes. You get SaberSim, you get the Discord, 5 days of content for only $19. Definitely think that is the best deal. if you're looking to take advantage. If you are just looking for our NBA content throughout the playoffs, you can get that for as low as $29, less than $1 a day. Only $20 more does get you SaberSim as well. Again, MLB, a very fun sport. NASCAR, MMA, PGA, massive prizes. So I think if you haven't tried us, I think this 5 days for $19 probably the best deal to get in, and you get the Discord and SaberSim, two big pieces of our product. Let's keep it rolling to the next game on the slates. SaberSim definitely has it off. I think it's 106.5 is the Memphis's team total versus Denver. They find themselves as 23.5-point underdogs. Big boy total, 247.5 on the injury report on the Denver side. No Spencer Jones, no Peyton Watson. On the Memphis side, no G.G. Jackson, no Cam Spencer. Oliver Max and Prospers, doubtful. Then Meshack is questionable. You can let me know if I missed anything there, but it is that time of the year where this Tariq Whitehead guy will be looking at some of the most ownership on the slate, kind of like we just talked about Kuminga, where you can play Whitehead with all these other dudes out, a shorter rotation, huge upgrade, or you can play Kuminga next to his usual guys where minutes are more down and he's competing for more usage. So that's kind of the point with Rio saying, I feel like we've been on NBA shows talking about Memphis for weeks, and they never have anyone priced above 6K. They're always somewhat shorthanded and somewhat in play. On the Denver side, yeah, I mean, Jokic is definitely going to be owned. You have the money to spend for him. He could play 25 minutes and probably crush in this spot, but is Jamal an interesting pivot for you? Looks like he's definitely getting ownership, but I think this gap will be wider when it's all said and done. Take it away, Denver and the Grizzlies.
So one thing that kind of stood out was looking at the last game the Grizzlies played. I think they broke the 3-point record in a game. Still ended up losing, but that was
Attempts
pretty
or makes?
made. I think they broke the record for made threes in a game.
And they
last
lost.
game. Yeah, they lost to the Cavs. I think they lost by like double digits too. So it's just like I don't know how that is even possible.
Wow.
But the Nuggets just gave up I think 25 threes to the Blazers last game, who are not really a good 3-point shooting team. So like outside chance that they're able to keep it close enough where we get full run from the Denver guys. I think regardless, you're still considering all of these guys because they are too cheap for the matchup and too cheap for their upside in this matchup. And we know that they're going to run things pretty tight, pretty like they're not going to go deep into their bench early, where I think some other guys like Detroit and like I mean there's other teams on the slate like Milwaukee, other teams that will go deeper into their bench. I think San Antonio is another team that could do that, but we know that Denver's going to play. It's pretty straightforward. But who we're considering on the Memphis side of things, I do think these guys are in play. I would not be looking to anybody that has any sort of long-term value with the Grizzlies moving forward. So that would take out Cedric Howard, Hendricks, and Walter Clayton Jr. And then if Meshack were to miss, then we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys you're basically considering, and that would be Lucas Williamson, Dariq Whitehead, Adama Ball, Toby Okani, and Ryan Rupert. Now, Ryan Rupert is a guy we do have to keep an eye on because I think he only has 1 game left on his contract, and they have, I don't know, probably 3 more games in the season, so he'll have to sit one of those 3 games. If he plays tonight, definitely has to be strongly in consideration. We saw him put up like 70 points over the weekend. He had a triple-double. But, I mean, Whitehead is actually like a decent player. He was a fairly high draft pick, if I remember. I know that he was pretty highly touted coming into the NBA, but definitely a guy that has talent, and he's been playing a ton of minutes. I feel like he's my favorite overall. And then I would say Rupert is second if he does play. This Adama Ball guy doesn't seem like he's very good. Lucas Williamson maybe has a little bit of game, so I probably consider him because he's going to be playing 30-plus minutes. And then Toby Okani also, I mean, he might be like a do-nothing type of guy because he played, I think, 40 minutes. I just want to double-check. He played 32 minutes last game, put up 7 fantasy points, but played 41 minutes 2 games ago, put up 14.75 fantasy points. And he's probably going to get ownership. Like, just play Whitehead over him. I don't even care. I don't think he should be getting any ownership. Just play Whitehead, and Williamson and Rupert, and then move on.
No Walter
Not-
Clayton. Doesn't
I'm
sound
not.
like.
Yeah, I'm not on any guy that has any sort of long-term value for Memphis. I'd get away from. Like, I'll play all the two-way guys right now. So like that for me, I'm Xing out Coward, Hendricks, and Clayton.
Yeah, and the only reason I mentioned that, like, I don't necessarily know if they're going to get that ownership. They definitely could, but that's a pretty big edge on this slate. If you are right when it's all said and done, that's going to be at least people paying the rake, and I assume more that are going to be playing those other guys, and you are going to get somewhat of a discount on some of those other guys you mentioned. So that's an important spot on the slate.
Yeah, and I think Denver pretty straightforward. Like Jokic, you probably have the money for him. I think you probably play him in single entry and then play Denny and then move around some of these other value plays that you're considering. But yeah, I just don't like there's no way that he doesn't he probably has a first half triple double. I don't know if you can bet that, but I think that he's probably doing that. Like this Memphis team is just giving up so many points at the rim. They're terrible at rebounding, terrible at defending. So he'll have a big stat line pretty early on in this game, I'd imagine. And then Jamal, 8.4K, pretty good price tag for him, even in limited minutes. I'd probably get away from Aaron Gordon just because I think this would be a game that they dial back his minutes because he's probably, I mean, outside of Jokic and Murray for like obvious reasons, he's probably the most important player on the Nuggets. So you got to come into the playoffs with him healthy. I just don't really think that they should even play him tonight, but he's in. And then Cam Johnson, Brown, both Browns, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. I think are guys that maybe are just like pivots off some of the other value plays because they're in a good spot as well.
None of them are getting garbage time run though, are they?
I don't think so. It's probably like Joval, maybe Strother, and then I don't know, like Pickett.
Pickett,
Yeah,
Tyus
like
maybe down there. Just I guess one of them. If that's all they have active, almost one of them's forced to.
they have
I don't know.
enough bodies, I think, where they don't really need to because it's just those, just Watson and Spencer Jones unavailable. So they have like KG Simpson, David Roddy, Tyus Jones, Curtis
Okay,
Jones, De'Ron
maybe it's
Holmes,
not projected
Najee.
at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, then it makes me a lot hard. It makes it hard for me to click a Hardaway, Cam, Bruce Brown that just because you're comparing them to Memphis or Minnesota or other stuff where you're playing against next. I guess I would if I would it'd be like a Hardaway Cam. I'd want the threes. Like I just would want the Jokic is going for 25 assists today, and he just keeps getting double, kicks it to open threes, and guys that will do it that way a little more than Bruce Brown. So I guess it's not the craziest thing, but that's why they're so low owned because when you compare their projection to some of this other value like Minnesota, Memphis, it's a lot more difficult with them sharing the court with Jokic and Jamal. But I think Jokic is, I mean, probably the best play on the slate. It's so easy to get him. He's going to be out there quite a bit in 25 minutes. He could easily break the slate. So, but Jamal's a good pivot. You wouldn't play both together, would you?
uh, probably not. I don't think so.
Feels tough on this slate for both of them and a 23.5 point spread to get there. But
Yeah,
I mean, Memphis would, I'd be running like four Memphis guys and just really thinking they're smashing to keep this game close. It'd be tough.
yeah.
All right, we'll keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, the Portland Trailblazers and the San Antonio Spurs. 3.5 point favorites are the Spurs. 228.5 total in this one. On the Spurs side, no Wemby, no Castle. On the Portland side, no new injuries to talk about. You did mention, so these Spurs are definitely going to get some ownership, but you seemed a little hesitant on what the Spurs were going to do. Rotation guys definitely have plenty of bodies, but like you see Fox, Harper, Cornette all getting a decent amount of ownership. On the other side, Portland's more thin. They're going to keep it more condensed. Denny will be a spend that a lot of people go to. I think Denny Jokic is probably how a lot of people start their teams. My man, I love to see it. Matisse Thybulle, first time I've seen him pop up here all year, but I'll let you take it away. Trailblazers and the Spurs.
Yeah, so the Blazers side is probably the most straightforward spot on the slate minus the Atlanta side because they have a lot to play for and they play before the Clippers tip off. So this is a game that they definitely need to win because Clippers and the Blazers are kind of battling for that bottom spot in the play-in. I just want to pull up the standings real quick before confirming that. But I know they're going for that last spot. Yeah, they're going for the 8-9 spot. So that makes a pretty big difference in terms of the play-in. So I think that they'll be going all out for this one. And with the Spurs losing Wemby and Castle and really not having much to play for, like there's the slimmest of chances that they could catch OKC, but OKC would need to lose out, and they're probably not doing that.
No.
So the Spurs, I just don't see a reason to run up minutes on like the older guys like De'Aaron Fox, Luke Cornett, Harrison Barnes are three guys that I could see really getting dialed back a little bit. I think maybe to a lesser degree, Vassell, Champagny, Harper, Keldon. I think Harper is a great value play tonight, though. He's going to be starting. He should be starting. They for most of the season they've been going with Harrison Barnes in the starting lineup whenever somebody missed. But the last time that Castle missed, I think, or Fox missed, he did start. So he should get the start tonight and is kind of good regardless. I'm really in on Harper, but I'd be pretty cautious on De'Aaron Fox. I'd be cautious on Luke Cornett. I would honestly be willing to take shots on like Carter Bryant at 3.6K because nobody's going to play him. I think this is a spot where he'll play more minutes than projected. I don't think I'd go there on Olynyk, but he's another guy I could see getting a little bit more minutes than usual here, and he's a pretty good permanent producer. I think you're getting a little bit too cute there. But mainly is what I'm trying to say is that I would be lower on Fox and Cornett than usual because they just don't really have much to play for. Doesn't make sense to run them out there for full minutes and risk any sort of injury. But the Blazers side, I think Denny is. I hate to use the word lock, but I feel like you're starting with him in single entries tonight. I mean, they're just playing these guys so many minutes, and they have a lot to play for. The matchup is going to get a lot better with no Castle out, or with Castle out. Roll has been great. Matchup's even better. So I really have nothing else to add about him. I think that you start with him in single entries. After that, I mean, these guys aren't getting a crazy amount of ownership. I need to reload Saber to see what they had on the Blazers guys, but
Low.
yeah, I mean that's pretty interesting because these guys are playing a lot of minutes right now, and it's a game that they will want to win. That projects to be close. So, like Drew Holiday had no ownership. He's been playing great. I think that he's in play. I think Tamani Kamara has been shooting the ball really lights out as of late. He's playing a ton of minutes. Like he's got to be in play. Um, Maybe less so Klingon and like Time Lord just because they're splitting minutes together. Scoot got up to 36 last game, and then your boy Matisse Thybulle, they're finally starting to play him more minutes. I just don't know why it took them so long because he just plays a winning brand of basketball, in my opinion. But I mean, he's actually shown much better permanent upside this season than any season in the past. I have to double check that to confirm, but like he's been really good as a permanent guy this season, just not really consistent minutes. But now he's starting to play more minutes. I think that he's a pretty strong option. Yeah, I think Portland side is really good tonight.
Is he still sitting in the corner, just hitting down open threes and hounding dudes, or is he getting to the rack more, moving around more from the corner?
I think he's just getting more involved, like on maybe on ball and like with rebounding and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. He's
I mean,
looked
he's
different
always
this
been
season.
5, 2, 3 steals, 3, 3, 3, 0, 1. I mean, yeah, for anyone that's been following me any bit of time, him, Jaden McDaniels, Drew Holiday, Gary Payton, the third. I mean, give me all these dudes that they're going to compete. Thibault is, I mean, shout out to Washington, any Washington fans out there. They played zone, they played 2-3 zone back in the day, but man, him at the top, either the left or right side, his hands were absolutely insane. His instincts are off the charts. So, yeah, absolute menace for sure. Not sure
So
what takes these guys so long.
last year it was his best fantasy season, but he only played 307 minutes. This year he's played he only played 312 minutes. This year he's played 430, but he's at 0.95 fantasy points per minute where he's been like zero point 0.6, like zero point 0.7 pretty much every season prior.
And it feels like his 430 minutes, what half of them came in the past like month and a half or something. Like
Yeah.
he was never getting anything early. So I like it. So it sounds like you think Denny's more of a lock than Jokic.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm playing single entry, which if you're even playing NBA DF at this point of the season, then kudos to you. I'd probably be starting with Denny and Jokic and then just building
Yeah,
around them.
yeah. I think
It's a
that's
chalky
the way to
answer,
go.
but
Definitely is, but there's enough mid-tier, lower-tier options. You already talked about that Memphis stuff. There's Minnesota guys that really aren't getting too much ownership. You mentioned enough pivots. Even in this game, Kamara, Drew Holiday, Thibault, these guys aren't getting too much ownership, and sounds like you like it quite a bit. All right, we will keep it rolling to the next game on the slate: OKC Thunder and Los Angeles Clippers. The Thunder are 8.5-point favorites, 225.5 total in this one. On the OKC side, no injury to talk about. On the Clippers side, no Darius Garland, and that is the only injury news there. Sorting by ownership, the only one getting double-digit ownership is Kawhi. But I mean, if you're starting with Denny and Jokic, or just Denny in general, it's a little harder to get to Kawhi. He is shooting guard and small forward eligible as 8.5-point dogs, though, in a low total against a healthy OKC team. Feels like a little uphill battle. So this game looks more like the Detroit Milwaukee game. Make a 7-game slate, a 5-game slate. How do you see it?
Yeah, pretty much see it similarly. I think that the Garland news, I was not expecting that because, um, like I said, Portland and Clippers are vying for that last spot. Maybe they just kind of knew that they'd lose this game because OKC is fully healthy. Like they don't even have Hartenstein and Caruso listed on a back-to-back. So really good chance that OKC wins this game easily. So I'd be very cautious about playing any Clippers guys tonight. They play the Blazers on Friday, so that's the game where they'll be loading up the minutes. But for sure, I think the Blazers will still play their guys full tonight, but Clippers much less so. And then I just don't see a reason or how you can get to OKC on this type of slate when they have their guys fully healthy. Like maybe Shea does enough in more limited minutes to be viable, but I doubt it. So this is like the Milwaukee and Detroit game to me, like max one probably.
Yep, 7 game slate. Make it a 5 game slate after you go X, 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 and X. All right. Last game of the night, 10 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns. 12.5 point favorites are the Suns. 233.5 total in this one. On the Dallas side, Caleb Martin out, and then Clay, Brandon Williams, Najee Marshall, Gafford, and PJ all doubtful, unless there was any. Is that correct? Still all doubtful. We haven't heard any news since.
Yep.
Okay, and then on the Phoenix side, Mark Williams got ruled out shortly before the show. We're right on it, and then Grayson Allen is questionable. All right, we're looking at some ownership in this game. Bagley, D Book, Goodwin, maybe Iguodala. Nah, probably not at center. I was hoping because Mark Williams was out, but we got 3 guys looking to get a little ownership, and after that, pretty much nothing. Can you make a case for some of these Dallas guys being better value, or at least pivots and viable value off of Minnesota and Memphis stuff? Is my main question.
I definitely could. Like this feels like the spot like Utah last night where there's a lot of unknowns about the rotation, but clear upside. Oh, sorry, somebody hit a bomb in that like Rockies game. Was it Goodman? Yep, Goodman. Nice.
Nice, the
Um
one guy I don't have.
that's the way she
Solaire's been
goes.
on fire. Not as bad as not as on fire as Baldwin though. Talk about
Yeah.
seeing beach balls.
Um but yeah, I definitely would want to take shots on these guys on the Dallas side of things. I feel like Flag pretty clear number one option. Like they're still trying to get him the rookie of the year stuff, and this is a game where they're double digit underdogs. So I feel like you don't really need to worry about winning this game, but they are more incentivized to lose than they are to win, obviously, because they are um they Pelicans got a win last night, so they'll be pretty locked into where they are with a loss here in the Tankathon standings because they are one game ahead of them. Memphis plays tonight against Denver, so that's another loss for them. So yeah, Dallas definitely looking to lose, and then the Suns are locked into where they are in the seventh spot. They can't move up or down. So surprised that they're playing their guys here because there was some coach speak that's saying like they probably play their guys a little bit too much. We knew that Mark Williams wasn't going to play, but I mean it's a great spot for Phoenix. Dallas is terrible on defense, terrible rim defense. They have no guard defenders. So like Booker and Jalen Green are in a good spot here, but Dylan Brooks takes away usage from them. Grayson Allen got upgraded to questionable, so a little bit tougher to get to the Phoenix side, but I would say that they are in a very appealing matchup here. But one guy I definitely want to take a shot on. I guess it's kind of 2 guys, but mainly just the front court guys on Dallas because we saw Phoenix really struggle at the rim when Mark Williams was off the court. He's not even that great of a defender, but just they got a lot worse with him off the court. Like I would definitely want to take shots on Musa Cisse at 3K. I talked about him a lot earlier in the season. He's a really good permanent guy, playing more. Or he did play a couple minutes the last time that he was active, played 22 and 26, and he should be active tonight. Don't really see it. They have ran like a 3-man rotation at center, which is annoying, but yeah, I think that he's really got the upside that could blow away the position from a point per dollar standpoint. So I do have a good amount of interest in him, good amount of interest in Bagley as well, because he kind of profiles similarly. Probably it though.
Nemhard, someone asked.
I guess. I don't
K
know. He
mid.
doesn't. Middleton, I guess at 3.6K, you probably need him to get it done in limited minutes because I don't think he's playing a ton. I'd probably just rather take shots outside of Cooper Flag, like away from the older guys, like away from Middleton, away from Bagley to a lesser degree, but like definitely think Cisse is strong. I think AJ Johnson is in play. I think Tyler Smith is in play. Yeah, just kind of going away from ownership in this game is kind of how I would go.
I like it, man. I was just checking out the awards since it's been a little minute. Khan no longer probably going to win. Sad. Calvin
If you were
Johnson.
tracking that all season though, and you were kind of getting in on good spots, you'd probably make a good amount of money on that.
Oh, for sure on both guys. I mean,
Yeah.
we were looking at kind of from I don't know, the third day or something when Khan started off so hot. He was to like plus 1,400. And then one day you were surprised when a couple days actually that Khan was still a wider favorite than you thought. And you could get Flag at plus money. So I assume most people that do take shots on markets like that are watching it pretty closely and they were able to get good plus money on both those guys throughout. So good stuff there. Keldon minus 400, 6-man. Clutch minus 2,500 SGA. MVP, we already knew was going to be there. Most improved, Nah, over
hmm
Duran. All right, JB Bickerstaff, going to win coach of the year more than likely, minus
I
290.
think it should be Missoula, but
Missoula's number 2, plus 230. I do agree with that. Riding them hard. Seems like it's just a little too crowded right now there in Dallas. Yeah, super cheap on FanDuel. He's also, I mean, there's just also just so many value plays on this slate, and there's only so many spends to play. So good stuff, Rio. We have 2 more days. I believe it's me and you on Thursday, and then me and Ham going to do our best on Friday with no Rio to break down the wild Friday slate on the last day. But any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
no, I mean, considering that this is like a tougher part of the year to talk about NBA, the viewership's still been good, so I appreciate you guys tuning in as always.
Absolutely. And again, if you do want to join us at the Nation Masters going on tomorrow, NBA, MLB, PJ Showdown throughout the next couple of days, MMA, NASCAR, NHL. Join the Nation in the bottom left. I think the best deal to give us a try is the 5 days for $19. So you can get access to all of our content. You get Saber Sim and you get access to the Discord, the best community around. Appreciate all of you guys. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope everybody has a great night. For my man Rio, I'm Titletown. Be safe. Good luck. Peace.